All right. Hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm your natural English coach, Nagi, and it's time for another English lesson. So, let's go to the first question. So, our first question is I don't understand how to use the phrase when it comes to something. So, this is a pretty common phrase, but you won't notice it very much when you're talking to people because it's not a standout phrase. It's not like a noun or a verb by itself. It's something that's used in between, so you really have to listen for it. So this phrase, when it comes to, is used to talk about your opinion about something. So, for example, we might talk about sweets. So we can say, when it comes to sweets, chocolate is my favorite. So in this case, it's talking about the different categories of sweets that you are interested in. But you can use it for a lot more than that. It's a very versatile phrase, which means you can use it in many different ways. So when it comes to can be used with both things and also people. So in this case, you can say, any kind of restaurant will do when it comes to Gary. So the meaning of this sentence means that this person, Gary, is not picky. He does not really mind if we go to this restaurant or that restaurant or some other restaurant. It doesn't matter what kind, he is okay with any kind of restaurant. So in this case, it's putting that information first. Any kind of restaurant will do, which means any kind of restaurant is okay when it comes to Gary or for Gary. So that's another way that we can use when it comes to. As you can see, in this one, you can start a sentence with it when it comes to, or you can put it in the middle or near the end of the sentence. So our next question here. My friend thought I said fast when I was saying first. What's wrong with my pronunciation? So the first important thing to remember is that both fast and first are the same in Romaji. We have fasto, fasto, right? And you only can really tell the difference depending on the sentence that you say it in. So that's the context that you need to be careful of. So, with first, there are two sounds you really want to pay attention to when you are pronouncing this word correctly, which is the short I sound, f, and the deep sound. Those two sounds connect together very tightly, so it's hard to hear them separately. But those two sounds are very important to making a natural first sound. First. And then with fast, we have the open A sound. Fast. First, fast. First, fast. So one important thing to know, the sound is very difficult for non-native English speakers to make. It takes a lot of practice. And it's hard to explain exactly what to do when you want to make that sound. But here's one thing you can keep in mind, is that when you make the sound, you can feel the sound deep in the front of your throat. So right about here. When you make the sound, the muscles in your mouth and in your neck contract, which kind of means they squeeze and get smaller. So in this case, the sound happens right down here. When you make a strong sound, you can feel the muscles going inward right here. Fur. I'm saying it a little bit stronger than I usually do when I'm speaking naturally, but that's just so you can hear it very clearly. Fur. And as you can see, sometimes it actually helps if you tilt your head down a little bit because it helps make that constriction right here even better. First. So try that a little bit, and remember that the sound doesn't really come from the front of the mouth, it comes from the back, down here in the throat. First. So let's look at a couple of examples. I was the first to arrive. I was the first to arrive. The next one is, I ran really fast during the race. I ran really fast. Fast. The third one is, I was so fast, I won first place. I was so fast, I won first. Fast, first. I recommend practicing that more often so that you can really start to feel the difference between those two sounds when you're saying them. All right, question 3. My teacher told me to be at class at 3 sharp. What does sharp mean in this sentence? You probably are able to guess in general, but this is a very natural and also pretty common phrase that's useful to know and use. So, sharp means exactly, or at that exact minute. As you know, sharp, when we're talking about knives or something like that, means that they can cut through things very easily. So sharp means exact here. So we can say 3 o'clock, we can say 3 sharp, or we can say 3 o'clock sharp. It's not also just on the hour, although it's most common to say things exactly at the hour. For example, 1 sharp, or 8 sharp, or 11 sharp. It's also okay to say 12:30 sharp, or 2:15 sharp. So other similar phrases that you will hear people use when they want to talk about something exactly, when we're talking about time, is on the dot. So you can say, I need you to meet me at 4 o'clock on the dot at the station, right? 4 o'clock on the dot is the exact same meaning as sharp. You can also just say right at. I need to get to the station right at 6 if I want to catch the train. On the dot and right at. So these are often used, as you just saw in my example sentences, for when things arrive or things depart. So when we're talking about catching a bus or taking a train, or also when you need to have a meeting or you're meeting up with somebody. Any sort of things that arrive or happen right at a certain time, we use these expressions a lot. So here's a couple of examples. The train leaves at 9:30 sharp. Don't be late. 9:30 sharp. So 9:31, you're too late. Then the next one, the store opens at 8 a.m. sharp. Be sure to be there by then. So in this case, maybe the store is having a sale on some goods. So if you're not there exactly when the store opens, then they'll be all sold out. So in this case, if you get there at 8:05, it's all gone. So you need to be there at 8 sharp. All right, here's question 4. If someone offers me food I don't like, what is a polite way to say no? So this is a tricky thing because it's not just a language issue, it's also just a cultural and interpersonal issue. So it's just about how to be social. So in this case, the most direct method is to simply say, no thanks, or you can say, no more for me, thanks. In this case, you're talking about no more food. No more for me, thanks. However, as you know, there are many situations when you can't really be as direct as you want to be, because maybe you're at a company party, or maybe you're at some other situation where you can't tell the person no directly. So now we're going to learn some phrases that help you say no, but in an indirect way that people will understand and they sound natural. So, For example, one reason you might not want to take food is because you have an allergy, right? So you can say, thanks, but I've got an allergy to seafood. And of course, you can say any kind of allergy. You can say, I've got a dairy allergy, or I've got a nut allergy. Depends on the kind of thing. But of course, the important thing also is that sometimes you can use this as an excuse. Maybe you don't actually have a real allergy, but sometimes if the person who offers the food is very pushy, right? They say, no, 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 take it, take it, take it. This is a good way of getting them to back off, because sometimes maybe saying no directly isn't going to work. But if you say you have an allergy, then it's a health concern. So sometimes it can be helpful. The other one is, thanks, but I'm on a diet. So it might be true, right? Maybe you're trying to lose weight or just keep certain foods out of your diet. For example, some people will have a diet with no red meat, or a diet with no dairy, or they might have a diet where they don't want to eat lots of carbohydrates or carbs, which can sometimes make people fat. So sometimes just saying, no thanks, or thanks, but I'm on a diet, can also be very effective and an indirect way of refusing food. So another useful phrase, especially when someone is trying to serve you alcohol, is, sorry, I'm a DD tonight. And DD in English stands for designated driver. So this is a person who is making sure that they drive everyone home safely after the party that night, so they can't have too much to drink or anything at all. So most people will respect this excuse. But also, if you're someone like me who doesn't really drink and you don't want to get pressured, it's easy to just to say, sorry, I'm a DD tonight. I have to drive tonight. I have to drive, right? And finally, a casual expression for refusing food, especially if you're among good friends or family, this is very easy to say. You can just say, I'm good, or I'm all set. Usually this is a very natural way of refusing more food from close friends or family. All right, and finally we have our question 5. I want to be able to watch movies and TV shows in English without subtitles. How do I get better at it? This is, of course, a big goal for anyone who really wants to understand English or any other language at a high level, right? Because being able to watch a movie in a different language or watch a TV show in a different language really shows that you have a very strong grasp of the language. You have a very strong understanding of the language. So here's my recommendation for how to start doing that. It's also important to remember that trying to understand everything in a movie or trying to understand all of the lines in a TV show in a different language requires a very, very high level of the language, generally even total fluency to understand everything. But that doesn't mean that you can't understand most of it or you can't understand some of it. And that's a good goal to have. So this is my recommendation for getting better at understanding some of the language in a TV show or movie. So first, find a movie or a TV show you really like to watch, something that you're not going to get bored of after 2 or 3 times, right? Find something that you really like and you really care about separate from your interest in English, because you want to still be interested in the content. So this is an effective 3-step technique. So first, pick a scene. The scene should be maybe only 1 minute or 2 minutes long. The better you are at English, the longer you can have the scene. But I would recommend starting small or starting short, no longer than 1 minute. So first, I recommend that you watch the scene without reading the subtitles. So don't read anything, just try to watch and understand what they're saying. It's okay, you won't understand most of it, but just try to understand the feeling, the tone of what's going on. Understand, is this person angry at this person? What is this person saying to this person, right? What's the tone? What's the mood? So understanding the big things can help you understand the small things next. So once you've done that, go back to the start of the scene and then watch the scene again while reading the subtitles. So you watch it one more time, but you read the translation. So this is a time you're checking your guesses. You think, oh, I think this person is mad. Why do you think they're mad? Because they said this word, like angry or pissed off. And that way you can check for sure if you were right or wrong. That way you can really understand what the scene is about and understand all the details. And then finally, I recommend that you watch the scene one more time. And this time, turn off subtitles again or don't read the subtitles. Because you just watched the scene with the subtitles on, you should still have a strong memory of what was said and what's happening. That way you're not trying to think so hard about understanding every single word. If you do this for a 1-minute scene or a 2-minute scene, after those 3 times, you really will pick up more vocabulary and more language. And if you do this repeatedly as a form of practice over many weeks, you will improve quickly. So like I said, each time you watch, pay attention to the parts you didn't understand before. So don't worry about what you just heard, try to fill in the gaps between those. And practice the grammar parts on your own afterwards. So especially if you heard a phrase or you heard a kind of expression and you understand that now, really try to learn it well by using it on your own. You can practice in front of a mirror or you can record yourself, but either way, it really helps to practice it by yourself. All right, and as always, we're going to finish up with a question for you. Is there anything during your week you have to do exactly at a certain time? So, what do you have to do at some time sharp? For example, you might say, I need to arrive at work at 9 a.m. sharp. Or I have to get to the train station at 6 p.m. sharp to catch my bus home. So think about during your week, what are some times you have to be at a certain place or do a certain thing sharp? Try and answer it yourself. I recommend recording your answer on your phone or computer, and that way you can listen to your own answer and practice it again and again, and you can hear your own pronunciation and errors and correct them. All right, as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please think about commenting or liking or sharing or subscribing. Any of those things will help me make more content for you on the future. Also, if you ever have a question about English, you can always ask it during the live stream or leave a comment on any of my past videos and I will be able to respond to you. All right, until next time, have a good week.